I'm Car. I'm with Keyan. Keyan, you're from outer space. How's it going?
I'm good. I guess I'm from outer space. I'm in outer space.
Are we in outer space right now?
Everyone's in outer space. Everything that I'm aware of is in outer space. I mean, of course, there might be immaterial things that are not in outer space. Anyway.
How's your crazy week going? You seem pretty out of it when I saw you this morning.
Oh yeah. Oh man, moving sucks. I hate moving. I wanna never move again. I was like in the middle of moving, I was like looking up like packing and moving services.
What?
Yeah, like I was like, next time I'm never gonna do this again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hire one of these moving services. They're gonna pack all my stuff up, deliver it, but they don't unpack it. None of them unpack it.
Yeah. I was telling you Bronco boxes. I have no affiliation with Bronco boxes, but I highly recommend them because there's like $70. They give you all these boxes, and they give you paper, and you go in there and they're the best. They're the best in the biz here in Austin.
But do they pack it for you?
No, but it's so easy to pack with those kind of boxes they have because it's literally just put it in there and then it's not like boxes, actual cardboard boxes. It works a lot. I think it works better.
But I don't want to do, and I don't even want to think about it. Like that's how I like, even just like canceling my internet service and like the gas and all that. It's like, whatever.
Welcome to my world, man. This is what I do. Like the administrative stuff. Yeah, it sucks, but you gotta like get there and do it.
It's the worst. How was your week?
It was good. Got a lot of administrative stuff done. And then now just kind of rounding out the end of the week. This is my fun part. The stackers don't know. This is doing Stacker News Live and then doing the Thriller Bitcoin stuff. This is where Car escapes. All the other stuff I do.
Escapes the prison of his real life.
No, it's not that. It's just like all the other stuff is really, really hard. It's like really, really hard. And so this stuff is not hard anymore. It's like muscle memory. Sorry, Keyan.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean? Oh, I see. You've developed calluses to my personality and our show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's
all
great.
right. Let's jump into the top 5 stories of the week. This first one is LinkingLion, an entity linking Bitcoin transactions to IPs. 15 comments from 0xB10C, 50,000 sats. Whoa, what did this guy do or girl do?
Yeah. So this is B10C. They're pretty well known for doing these fairly deep dives, very detailed dives. Like this represents to me a pretty good example of a detail-oriented person, of which I'm usually not. But anyway, he's discovered like anomalous peer-to-peer activity on his Bitcoin node, where he's getting a high number of connections that are short-lived from a fairly fixed or a fixed set of IP address ranges. And he kind of like details what actually happens when these peers connect, and tries to more or less like profile these connections. And
who are they? He has them right there.
Well, these are who the IP addresses belong to, like what the range that who they're registered to are these groups here. One of them's like a VPN provider, and then another one is, I guess, like some kind of internet. Well, I don't know. They provide hosting services, maybe one of them. But he kind of narrowed it down to those couple of people. It's unclear like whether they're just hosted there or somehow associated with these people. Likely just some kind of hosting, possibly VPNs running in these other locations on the internet. But yeah, so he kind of suspects what they're trying to do is do like chain analysis stuff.
What, dude?
Yeah, I mean it's
on
not
everybody's node.
Basically the network trying to like develop a topology of the network. He's kind of assuming, or he's kind of concludes that he thinks that they're trying to associate IP addresses with transactions. There's not, he by process of elimination, he says it's likely chain analysis. given that if it were like researchers researching Bitcoin, which does happen, they'll do things like this,
and then they'll show their findings.
Yeah, they'll show their findings. This is much more long lived than any research project would be. There's also other types of things that would suggest they're not a research project, and that they're using fake user agents. So like when you connect, you say who you are, like you kind of tell your Bitcoin peer like what software you're using and version. And this entity, what LinkingLion as he calls it uses fake user agents. Like I think they're like pretty much nonsensical, or at least they're not ones that are normally you would normally see on the network. So they're likely fake. And then he kind of singles them out their behavior and kind of describes what it looks like, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I really like his write-ups because they're so detailed like this. The way way he really breaks down what he's seeing. But yeah, apparently it's also the same. I think the same IP address ranges are trying to chain analyze Monero as well. And I think he concludes they've been at least this entity appears to have been operating since like 2018.
Oh wow, so early on.
Yeah.
Is there a way to stop it on your side, or at least mitigate it somehow?
Yeah, so he says he lists off preventions and solutions, and he says he's maintaining a ban list for you to be able to ban these entities. The problem is, of course, that that doesn't really solve a whole bunch, because they can just move their IP address range more or less.
Like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, so not really great. Another, there are maybe deeper kind of solutions like using Dandelion, which is I think a peer-to-peer broadcasting technique that Monero uses. It says, I think he's saying that there was an implementation attempt to put it in Bitcoin, but it didn't get through because there were concerns around denial of service and other things. But yeah, I mean, pretty cool. I mean, I think a couple of people chime in. I think Tony Giorgio being one that says this, we all kind of assume this stuff was going on since forever, really. It's kind of easy to assume it was happening.
Yeah.
And but it's cool to like have a nice detailed analysis of what kind of it looks like, and some kind of suggestion of what they're attempting to do. Yeah,
Darthcoin asks, what do you think about this, Tony Giorgio, and the intranet protocol? Tony said, I thought this was pretty well known. This is not only possible, probable. Great research and write-up, though. Another reason your Bitcoin node should be Tor only. Then Christoph, PSK, said, Tor only has potential Eclipse attack issues. See old paper. Then he references a paper about privacy. But he says, Tor plus ITP is a better way to go. Having two different privacy networks mitigate this. If possible, adding Blockstream satellite receiver on top will also help. So like let's say hypothetically I have like a VPN turned on and it's behind some type of like, I don't know, VM, right? So VPN, VM, and then like, I don't know, something else like, and then Tor on top of that. Will that help if your node is behind all those like layers? Or
I mean, really,
that doesn't matter.
Really, if you're just using Tor, you're pretty good, because what it appears they're trying to do is figure out what the IP addresses of nodes are on the network, and possibly look for transactions associated with those IP addresses. So if you're using Tor and properly, you're not somehow leaking your IP address, then you should be safe from at least this attack.
Gosh, man, so much for privacy on the Lightning Network.
This isn't Lightning. This is Bitcoin.
What?
This is Bitcoin Core.
Oh, really? This is not on the Lightning Network?
No, this is plain old Bitcoin.
So this is on chain.
This is on chain.
Whoa! I thought we were talking about the Lightning Network the whole time.
No, this is how something like chain analysis would likely appear to be doing the work that they do.
Gosh. Well.
Yeah.
Stackers.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Keyan, what do we do? Accept it and keep going?
I mean, we try to mitigate it the best we can. As users, we try to use Bitcoin in the most private way we can. And then hopefully we'll see something like Dandelion that maybe doesn't have some of the problems that it introduces that will help users get privacy easily.
Do you think did you see that thing they were talking about? You probably missed it the other day, but they were talking about running your own node on your mobile phone with Bitcoin Core. Did you see that? The news?
No.
They were talking about it at ABDC.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't go to ABDC, so I missed it. But yeah, I know that's been a thing for a while. I know people like what I want to see is someone develop a mobile device that is specifically for running Bitcoin stuff, because I would buy the heck out of it if I can run like a full Bitcoin node and a Lightning node that's always like mobile connected. That'd be cool.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next top story. It's Route. Route blinding was merged. This is from rsync 25, 9 comments, 5,326 sats. You missed my rhythm right there. I was like,
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were in a rhythm.
I always have like a little cadence.
I thought I came in at the right time.
You like came in and then I came in.
I came in with I thought it was a backing vocal. I thought it was harmonious.
What is this route blinding about?
Oh, cool. Yeah. So route blinding has been in the works for a long time. If you look at the PR here, it was opened in 2020. So nearly 3 years ago, they've been discussing route blinding, but it's basically giving the receiver of Lightning funds privacy. So like, if I ask you for a payment from my node, and I don't want you to know, what my node's identity say.
Okay.
There's given the way the Lightning protocol works, there's no way for me to hide that from you. Like kind of by default, it's not like in the protocol for me to hide that to you. You know, as a result of me showing you an invoice, the node that you're paying to. So what route blinding allows you to do is to hide this. And that's effectively what it is. It's a privacy thing, and it'll be available as part of the Bolt 12 specification. So when we get Bolt 12 invoices,
when is
you'll
Bolt
have this.
12 coming? I keep hearing about it for it's been like a year now. When is it coming?
It seems like it's coming along. I guess what's nice is Lisa from Blockstream, who is on a sabbatical right now. She is throwing a conference here in Austin soon. She chimes in and says that route blinding is already available in Core Lightning and Eclair, and they're able to interop with it. So we're already seeing it there. I guess when does it come to the Lightning network? Meaning the majority of the Lightning network, whenever it gets into LND, probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So LDK is working on it currently, and then Carla, who used to work at Lightning Labs and is now at Chain Code, is working on putting it in LND. But
okay,
yeah. But
so it's coming
solo.
At least maybe this year.
It's hard to say. I would suspect, within a few years, probably, is what I would conservatively say.
And just for the stackers at home listening, what is Bolt 12 again? What does it allow us to do?
Bolt 12 allows us to do a number of cool things, but one of the most highly kind of awaited features is static invoices. So I can get tattooed on myself and an invoice that you will be able to pay my node for forever, like
That's
just
cool.
one invoice. Because right now, I have to generate a new invoice for every person I want to pay me, and it's kind of a bummer. And so that would give us that. But there are other things. The other things are these privacy things. Additionally, I don't know if it's going to make it into the first release, but I think there are things like recurring payments that you'll be able to do. Yeah, like specify subscriptions, things like that.
Yeah, that's going to open up a lot of stuff.
A lot of interesting stuff, and there's still some kind of FUD around Bolt 12, but it's looking like it's getting pushed through anyway. So pretty exciting. So this specific news thing was that the proposal for it was actually merged into the Bolt repo.
Cool.
So it's more or less, it's like pretty much in a state to get implemented. People are kind of in agreement on this is the way to do it, and it's good.
Nice.
And
well, this is good. This is good news. First, we had some bad news, and this is good news.
I don't call the first thing bad news, but it's more like the inevitable happening. Like when nation states eventually attack Bitcoin, it'll be like, yep, expected that to happen.
Yeah. Coming soon. TM.
Coming soon. TM.
Robosats Beginners Guide. 4,108 sats, 4 comments from Code Psychology. This was a freebie post. What's going on here?
Yeah. So this kind of more or less describes how Robosats works, which is pretty cool. They've added, I mean, since we first began talking about Robosats when they were released, I think last year sometime, maybe it was roughly a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah. They was pretty simple, didn't really do much, but now it's kind of developed quite a bit. They're constantly having more and more transaction volume. They now lock up. You now have to, in order to engage in an offer, I think it's called, or an order, you have to lock up Bitcoin in the Lightning Network in order to prove that you're kind of mean to follow through with the order. It's this Code Psychology describes the process of doing this, why you might want to do it. What are some of the incentives around it? People specifically, people who are selling Bitcoin, what are their incentives? And obviously, what are the incentives for someone attempting to acquire no KYC Bitcoin? But that's the gist of it. It's like for someone who's not familiar with Robosats already and what's going on with it or why it exists, this is a good explainer for it.
Yeah, there was one particular part in this post that says, why use Robosats over BISC or HODL? Robosats is the only Lightning Network solution. Other solutions require BTC on-chain that is more costly. HODL uses ClearWeb, no Tor, less privacy. HODL and BISC use the same identity for all trades, less privacy. BISC is a desktop app, can't be used on a phone, less portable. So, yeah, definitely take a look at this post. I have yet to use Robosats. So
yeah, I've spent a lot of time inspecting it, but I have not used it myself either. I haven't bought Bitcoin.
Do they have a service where you can just swap Lightning for on-chain Bitcoin?
Yes, they do. Okay. You can specify that you want to be the Bitcoin you purchase to arrive to you on chain.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think there's a swap fee. We discussed it last week. They had a bug in their swap thing.
Or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks ago, where that got exploited and they lost like 5 million sats or something.
Yeah, but I think they nipped it in the butt, right? It got resolved.
Yeah, they fixed it as far as we're aware.
Well, at least they found it sooner rather than later. The next top story is Lightning Network use case for efficient stacking. This is 23 comments from source creator. 14,000 sats on this baby. Dang.
Yeah. This is a pretty cool.
Sounds like all he needs to do is do a good Stacker News post. That's an efficient stack right there.
Yeah, he got himself some sats. He's basically describing how he kind of stacks Bitcoin, given his particular life circumstance, and so he said he's very frugal. He stacks mostly through renting out rooms, maybe as a home, or maybe he owns apartments or something, rents them out. But he says what he does is he asks tenants to pay him in Bitcoin, and he kind of breaks down how that might work. I would imagine it's quite hard, but by the sounds of it, he kind of ends up more or less orange pilling them, or at least getting them to pay his rent or pay the rent in Bitcoin. So he has them sign up for Strike or River, and then basically auto buy, I guess, around the time rent is due, and then they just pay him that way. And then he also will set them up with non-KYC stuff if they seem kind of interested in that.
What's your efficient way to stack, Keyan?
My efficient way to stack, I'm like hand to mouth in terms of my my life right now, so I don't really stack much. I'm typically spending more Bitcoin than I'm stacking. If I do need to buy Bitcoin, I'll usually buy it on Strike because the fees are quite low. Bitcoin on Lightning, and then I'll send it wherever I need to send it. But that's my current way I stack. How are you stacking?
How am I stacking? Right now it's mostly through a lot of the media stuff that I do. So all of that comes in really, really well. I learned early on from Matt and Marty. They were like, Car, revenue streams of Lightning, make it happen. Like that's what I learned early on, was just like create all these different revenue streams for Lightning, and that's the way to do it. But Yeah, I do all the podcast stuff, all the media stuff on Thriller. And then, the usual like dinners or like the apps like Oshi, Snacker News, Noster, like all that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool, man. You get all this lightning coming from all over the place.
Yeah, it's a cool way. I mean, earning Bitcoin is a really cool way to stack, and that way you don't.
Yeah, I really don't buy Bitcoin anymore. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's good if it's plenty of Bitcoin. Anyway, the main problem the main issue he has after he's orange pilled his tenants is mostly getting inbound liquidity to his node, because he says he basically doesn't spend. Yeah. So he basically only has an issue of replenishing his inbound liquidity after a given amount of time. But this
cool. Is one from Blockchain Book. He says, I offered my tenants to pay in Bitcoin and they ignored it. Even offered 5% discount. But this is a great flow. Thanks for sharing. If the tenants were going to say, yeah, I was going to use Zaprise to track payments. Yeah, that's another good way to too. I forgot about that. I forgot to mention Zaprise. Whenever you do any contracting stuff, you can use Zaprise and they do Lightning and Bitcoin. So it's another good way to get paid.
Yeah, pretty cool. He said he responds to that Blockchain Boog post and says that he more or less had to insist. But once he insisted, there wasn't any resistance. But I think it's if you give them the option, they're always going to be like, "Nah, I'm going to do it."
So
easy.
That's interesting you bring that up, because I've seen people in the space, that will say, "No, man, I will only take Bitcoin," and like hard stance. So I know me personally, I have that kind of ethos here for what I do at Thriller. Like, I only pay the riders in Bitcoin.
Nice.
I refuse to pay in fiat.
Yeah, I think that's the way. It seems to be the way to get people to actually begin using Bitcoin, is to force them to. If they want to be engaged in market relations.
Yeah, that's how you get rid of fiat, man. Pay in Bitcoin, accept only Bitcoin. 2 steps. The next top story is embracing Noster, my journey from skeptic to advocate. This is from Mr. Tony Giorgio. 23 comments, 3,084 sats. What is going on here?
This one really surprised me.
Why?
Well, because Tony, the history is kind of recent, but historically has been a huge Noster bear. He's been very against Noster, kind of vocal about it, at least the times I've spoken to him about it. But he's kind of saying he's changed his mind, not fully. I don't think he's actually changed his mind much. It's just I think what it sounds like to me is he's lowered his expectations of what Noster is, and is now comfortable with Noster just meeting those low expectations. But to describe this post, if you haven't read it, Tony basically describes what prevented him from being a Noster advocate before, and a lot of his experience with DIDs and believing in DIDs as something that was going to succeed at its mission. And then the other part is actually interacting with Noster and seeing alternative use cases getting proposed, like coin join coordination and stuff like that, and then other explorations they did for Mutiny Wallet. And now he's like still a skeptic, I would classify him as, but he's posting on Noster, he is engaging with Noster, and another thing that prevented him previously from being excited about Noster was just bearishness on social media generally, is another thing he kind of lists, having exited Twitter about 2 years ago and leaving behind like 20,000 crying Twitter followers, me included.
It's interesting because I remember when he left Twitter in 2021 and he came on Thriller. I still have that recording, by the way, Tony. I never released it, but we have like a 2-3 hour recording of him talking about leaving Twitter and stuff like that. And we talk about a lot of stuff, but we never released the episode.
Why?
But
why didn't you release it?
He didn't want to at the time, and I respected it, so I pulled it. But or it never got published. But it was interesting. He talked about that here in the post, And then what was also interesting, I want to bring up this because I think this is like the best part. And I saw this on Nostr when Paul shared it. He says right here, he goes, Nostr is incredibly simple to develop on and can be incremental as a developer builds more advanced features. This goes back to surrounding yourself with good company. Easy solutions attract developers, which bring better products and more users, some of which will be more developers. The cycle repeats as more developers come in. The technical problems I have with Nostr start to get fixed, and many already have. I thought that was like really well put because it just shows the amount of experience he has in building communities and building for stuff like Nostr. It just shows to his experience. Really good article. I read it last night before I went to bed. But yeah, I think the thing that was interesting was you brought in Janet Yellen.
Yeah, Janet Yellen is a NIM of someone we know is a huge Nostr bear.
Yeah, and Tony goes, never going to happen. There needs to be at least one naysayer out there. And then Janet Yellen said, win mute button for Nostr content on Stacker News.
Yeah, Janet Yellen has been asking. She's been calling me from the Capitol and asking me to give word filters on Stacker News and also like block lists and stuff. So
I think for me personally, I mean, I like the way Stacker News is now. I'm not complaining. I think the only thing is I wish we had its own sub for Nostr. I would say that personally, but
you also really wanted bookmarks. How many bookmarks do you have? Should we go and see how many bookmarks you have? Can we guess?
I actually have a lot of them on BSATs, so
let's see. Really wanted bookmark support. So adamant supporter. Look at how many, totally justified.
Call it out. You got me.
Anyway, this is just for all the other founders out there. Users don't know what they want.
I don't know what I want, Stackers, apparently.
They will tell you they want something.
He zapped me.
But they don't.
Hey, show my QR code.
They don't actually want it. Yeah, if you want to zap Car for all the bookmarks he has, I would zap him the same amount of zaps.
Hey, I have bookmark memory now. I got so used to doing Stacker News without bookmarks so long. I just got used to just looking at it. Search has gotten better. So that rounds out the top 5 stories of the week. I want to bring this one up because I think this one's really important because we've been kind of talking about Apple and surveillance stuff. And I think this is probably the third post I've seen on Stacker News this year regarding it. But it's the DEA quietly turned Apple's AirTag into a surveillance tool. I don't know if you saw this, Keyan, but apparently border agents have intercepted 2 packages from Shanghai, China. Inside one was a pill press, a machine used to compress powders into tablets, and the other some pill dyes. Believing that they were destined for an illegal narcotics manufacturer, the DEA was called in. They inspected devices, but rather than cancel the shipment or pay a visit to the intended recipient, they tried something that they never been known to try before. They hid an Apple AirTag inside the pill press so they could track its movements. And so this is kind of a big deal because you actually have regular 3-letter agencies using technology like Apple's surveillance tracking tag. That's,
retail technology.
Yeah, there you go. Retail technology. What do you think about this, man?
I mean, it's pretty. I didn't actually read this. I saw it.
But what do you think? Just like hearing that, are you surprised? I'm kind of shocked. I thought they have like more sophisticated technology.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's unlikely that the DEA has the technical chops to develop something that's even better than what Apple is doing with all of its engineers, all of its, its trillions of dollars in market cap. It's highly unlikely. I mean, if retail is demanding to be tracked like it is with these AirTags, they are going to the companies that are serving retail are going to develop a way better solution to tracking than the DEA will ever do. And that's basically what we have in the AirTag. The AirTag is actually really cool in that it doesn't need an internet connection. It communicates through I was talking to an Apple engineer about this. It communicates through I think Bluetooth, I believe, or other whatever network is available. It will communicate it'll communicate through devices. So it can, even if there are several Apple devices like in a room that don't have internet connection, it will communicate through all of them until it finds one that does have an internet connection.
So you're saying it's basically like did you ever see The Dark Knight where Batman goes into that room and he sees a Joker and he has these goggles on and it's just like bouncing off these arrays. You seen that?
I mean, yeah, I don't remember.
But maybe that's what it's doing. It's just like out there.
Yeah, no, it's apparently like pretty good in terms of like preserving privacy. I think it's like all like onion encrypted, possibly even, but it's it basically allows you to locate things without needing an internet connection.
I'll tell you from my experience, dude, like, you know, like I've seen like Apple AirPods, like, because Apple AirPods, you can switch them out and put one on you. I don't know if you know that, and then it can track your other AirPod. So you can even take out that Apple AirPod, the EarPod, whatever, and then disassemble it and just keep the stuff that you need, and then put that on somebody, and that will track you. Somebody has done that to me. I talked about it before. I was able to find it, but like it's a real thing, dude.
Yeah, I mean they have really good tech around. I mean, people want to locate their devices and stuff. It's been a problem for a long time. I wouldn't, probably all Apple devices have something like AirTag in it. It's kind of spooky.
It's scary, dude.
I don't know if you've ever, like, I was walking home from a BitDevs one night and I got a notification on my phone, which was like, you might be being tracked right now because there's an AirTag that's following you.
Yeah.
And
it's a real dude.
I was like, what is going on? And then
I'm glad it's happening to you too. Like it happened to me. I didn't talk about it. I think I brought it up to you at some point, but I never talked about it publicly till just now. But dude, that's a scary thing, dude. It's
just a warning. So talking to this Apple engineer about it, they told me that it's just to alert someone that they might be being tracked, but it often happens in a case where you're walking on a busy street and someone has an Apple tag with them. And
they're around you?
And they're just around you. They're walking roughly at the same pace as you, near you, and it will alert you like that. Because otherwise, you'd continue to get the alert.
Yeah.
If you were tagged personally.
Yeah, I got it for like a good it was a while. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not scared enough. I don't want to scare the skackers. But yeah, it happens. As Bitcoiners, we need to be even more cognizant of it because apparently, we're somebody to be followed. Apparently, I love what Zanny says. He goes, "But the ads told me Apple cares about privacy. I'm shocked to my very core." And then Tamale said, as opposed to all phones using GPS all the time and all devices using SIM cards triangulating their position all the time, but it gets clicks putting Apple into headlines, I guess. Yeah, it does get clicks. We'll say that, Tamales.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary just buying anything. Like if you get a TV nowadays, it wants to like connect to the internet, and then you have to sign a bunch of like privacy.
Dude. Like our new TV, it's like freaking me out here in the lab. Like,
yeah, and they're all voice activated. So they all have voice features in them and stuff. It makes me want to go. It makes me want to get like you remember those old like
CRTs?
Yeah, once we get like an old CRT or something.
Bring back the Polaroid CRT monitors. Okay, the other story I wanted to bring up because I think it's pretty big, man. This is Fold announces exclusive global partnership with Visa. This is 11 comments from Pablo, 895 sats. Did you hear about this?
I did. I mean, I heard about it through you, being like, you were like, telling everyone about it in the lab.
Yeah. So for the snackers at home, the move aims to expand the reach of the first Visa co-branded Bitcoin Rewards debit card, launched in the spring of 2020 to more Fold users worldwide. The announcement comes as nearly 1 billion in transactions have gone through Fold since the launch of the Fold Visa debit card, and users have been awarded over 30 million in Bitcoin since the launch of the app. Wow, dude, that's crazy. Will Reeves said, in order to meet the growing demand for Bitcoin on-ramps outside the U.S., we're thrilled to expand our engagement with Visa. We believe that Bitcoin can be a powerful tool for people all over the world to take control over their finances, and we are committed to making Bitcoin as easy and accessible as possible for everyone. That's a great soundbite there. But yeah, I think for me, I'm just always impressed with like Fold. They just took the really low time preference of building a company. Like from its early, I mean, they got a lot of crap early on for the metaverse that they created. But like, dude, besides that, like I don't know any other Bitcoin company. Well, maybe Strike and Square, Cash App, but like they're doing the Lord's work, man. Getting it out there.
Yeah, it's cool. I've never used Fold. I know people that use Fold and they're really happy with it and like it. I'm like credit phobic, so I don't really. And I used
to use it, but I don't use it anymore.
I hate the admin of like dealing with other cards. I have like one card and that's it. But
I think it's great for getting like, pre-coiners, I don't know.
Yeah, but what? So let's say, do you think I can convince my dad to use Fold? I think it's someone who's like maybe Bitcoin curious.
It's boomer friendly.
We should maybe talk to someone at Fold about this. But
it's definitely boomer.
Like, who do they think their actual target demographic is? Obviously, a lot of Bitcoiners probably use Fold because they want to stack sats kind of passively. But outside of that core demographic, I wonder who their core demographic is, because I don't think my dad would care about getting Bitcoin rewards.
I don't know, man. Like, I know of somebody who told me that they like pay for everything with their Fold card and they get sats for it. Like, you can do all sorts of cool things with it, from what I've heard. Yeah, I mean, 30 million though. It's a lot of Bitcoin, man.
It's cool. I've heard about this before, but GMD posts that he used to double dip by paying his rent and other credit card bills through PayPal using Fold, and apparently that would allow him to get credit card rewards by paying rent and stuff. And
yeah,
so smart things.
Did you ever see that Punch Drunk Love?
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but like with coupons. Back then,
I actually don't remember Punch Drunk Love, but I remember
Adam Sandler.
I remember Adam Sandler's on. I just don't remember what happened in the movie.
And then, but before he falls in love with the girl, he like gets obsessed with like doing this kind of stuff. So he gets all these like frequent flyer Myers and stuff. Anyway,
nice.
The next story is Keyan's Meta post. This is called "Outer Spaces for Curious Beings." Nostr client and relay coming soon. TM. This is from Coob. 16 comments. 3,190 sats. What is this?
Yeah, so this is Outer Spaces where I'm building our Nostr client. It's kind of choppy. I think it's not choppy on my screen, but yeah. So it's where I'm going to be, experimenting with Nostr stuff that might have some of the features that Stacker News has. We're going to try to do a good job of it. But that's basically it. There's not much you can do there right now. You can reserve a name if you want a Lightning address in outer space. If you want a NIP5 in outer space, you can reserve one. Otherwise, you can sign up for like DMs as we kind of ship things and begin to progress on it. But that's really all it is a landing page. It's like I call it a launch announcement in a comment in the post, because it's mostly a launch announcement. There's not a product to use yet. It's mostly preparing for a product.
An announcement of announcement. There you go. You're learning from the best.
That's right.
No, you told us on, what was it, Wednesday here in the lab? Was it Wednesday or Thursday? I forget my days.
It was the day. I think it was Wednesday. When I launched it.
Yeah, you're like, I'm making outer space, and I was like, what? And then we all were talking about it. But yeah, man, I'm happy for you. I can't wait. I did a whole Thriller post about it here recently, like an hour ago. But my initial thoughts, it'll be just interesting if you're able to kind of do the same thing you did for Value and building community and all those sorts of like dynamic connections. But if you can do that in the Nostr world. So I think I'm really curious, even just knowing you, I'm curious to see if you can pull this off. Like, I want to see like what your brain can bring to Nostr. Because I mean, we already have like, some other really big brains working on it right now. So it'd be really cool to see what your take is going to be.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I don't
pressure, by the way.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I really don't know if I'll be able to provide the value that I want to provide on Nostr, or if I can add much at all. If maybe the community is already doing everything they could possibly done. I guess we'll see. I'm going to try really hard, and hope to do that. I'd like, basically what I want is for Stacker News to be decentralized. So this is like this will be my attempt at trying to achieve it. And I think Nostr is a really good place to begin to achieve this. So, barring all the exceptions people have about Nostr being able to scale or whatever. Yeah. I think all future decentralized social media platforms will look enough like Nostr that we'll be able to learn a lot about attempting to build something like Stacker News on Nostr. Whether it's possible to decentralize it, I don't know.
I think even if you go for like the low hanging fruit, because there's already been some other communities that have adopted Nostr. Minds is one of them. I forget the other one that has as well, and they've seen tremendous growth from it, just from the network effect of Nostr. But I think just in that sense, like that's the low hanging fruit. Obviously, you're going to be able to do that, but I can't wait to see like the things that you can't account for, which like the stuff that William has done with Damus, where you're like, whoa, like never would have thought of that. Wow, that's interesting. You know, those kind of things are like the when you look at the people in the space that are doing this stuff, it's those type of unique touches that they do. So I can't wait to see what you do with their roster.
That's kind of the cool thing about using new technology is that you don't have to be you're building on new technologies. You don't have to be terribly smart to discover something new. So you just kind of show up, and because it's like unexplored, you might be the first person to discover, you know, something that's fairly obvious if someone spent enough time exploring that technology, but, you know, still pretty, you know, providing pretty profound value. So I think, you know, just like a short message about explore new technologies early, even when you're skeptical about them, because you might be able to, you know, reduce your own skepticism by building something new or improving on it. And you'll likely discover something that someone hasn't yet. And there's something really that feels really good about having done that. So
yeah, I was reading a post by I was telling you right before the show. I forget his last name Oppenheimer, but he was talking about how you can have natural ability and what's the other word? I forget that. It's like natural ability and a work ethic. But if it doesn't come with obsession, then it's like that's a third ingredient or whatever. Nice. And I know you personally, you're very obsessed about this kind of stuff. And a lot of the people that are building on Nostr now are as well. The community team's clearly one of them too. So it's going to be really interesting to see like these obsessive types go off and build on this network. Cause it's going to be like, whoa, like that's the little key there. But so the roadmap that you gave is the NIP5, non-custodial and hybrid custodial Lightning wallet address, etc. So you'll support fully non-custodial wallet connections, provide optional SAT-capped custodial wallet for offline receives and an in-app payment simplicity. You also have basic Nostr client relay and then client relay with a value rank support of some sort there. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much the plan. Is I'll probably provide NIP5 fairly shortly here. Well, maybe spending quite a bit of time trying to set the tone for like the design and kind of UX. Mm-hmm. And then also the wallet. I really want a bulletproof wallet. I basically have like 18 months of user feedback on Stacker News's wallet that I want to incorporate in a new wallet, which I'll be building for both Stacker News and Outer Space. And so both Stacker News and Outer Space will get the benefit of that new wallet. And then from there, I'll begin building the client and the relay, and then begin once I have kind of a basic simple Nostr client. I'll begin building, I guess, Stacker, more specific Stacker News features into Nostr.
Yeah, one other thing I will mention. This is just for people listening at home and the snackers. Keyan, you know this, but Stacker News is currently experiencing a surge in traffic. So I think that's going to be really telling. Is you're going to be able to move some new people that probably wouldn't even use Nostr otherwise. If you go back to the comments, there was a couple people that are like, "Oh, I like it already. I'm ready. So let's go. Looks cool. Reserved. Looks cool." And then I forget. He goes, there was one person that says, "I wasn't taking a look at it before, but now I might just have to."
I was surprised by those too. I assumed all Stacker News users were already Nostr users, but it kind of shows that there isn't as much of an overlap in demographics as I even expected. I suspected that nearly every Stacker News user would also be on Nostr, but
yeah, so that'll be cool to see that community move over to as well, and then you'll still have the other side. So yeah, man, good job. I think that's all I got I think that ends our whole story list. What do we got for the super stat of the day?
Super stat segment brought to you by Keyan and Car. So top stackers of the week. Block Talk stacked over 100,000 sats. I don't know what for. Maybe he did a bounty. Let's see if we can snoop around and find out where these sats came from. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
He gave there was a bounty out for a summary of when money dies, and he produced the best version of it and won 110,000 sats. I'm going to go back and read that because I haven't read When Money Dies, because the first few paragraphs bored me. B10C, they stacked quite a bit with their LinkingLion post. Vintage, I'm fourth in the list, which is, the stackers are out stacking me, which is awesome. rsync25 been posting a lot of great stuff about new releases and stuff coming out of the Lightning Network. Source Creator with their post on Robosats, I believe, or no, it wasn't Robosats. They're stacking lifestyle. So lots of big stackers this week.
Nice.
And then spenders, Modus, who I believe was the one who asked for the summary. Nout, next biggest. Unofficial. Chris 42. I'm fifth in the list. Again, I'm getting beat where I'm normally always in the lead. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. Finally.
Yeah, finally. Putting me in my place, stackers. Let's see here. Cowboys. To see, just to give a little props to the people, the boys who are saddling up out there. Yeehaw. Saddling up, calling in the cows, ringing that dinner bell. All these guys, Austin, Siggy 47,
Darth Coin,
CLR, Darth Coin's he's been a cowboy for a while.
How much he's stacked.
Giddy up. Garth
Look how much
Coin.
he's stacked in how many days? Is that accurate?
Oh, how much he's stacked. So this is his lifetime stack.
So wow. This guy's a full-time job.
Yeah. 500,000 sats for him.
Jeez.
Dustin has had his for a while. Yeah, we got some people really holding on to their cowboy hats now.
That's cool.
So
yeah, man. This is awesome.
Pretty excellent.
I love seeing it. You love to see it. Cool. Yep. What do you got going on the rest of this weekend, Keyan?
I think I'll be unpacking now. That'll be my life for a bit.
Do you have to still go move today?
We got a car towed. It's like because we had a car sitting in our. It's just so bad. But yeah, just more life stuff this weekend. How about you? What are you doing this weekend?
We got Nostra Devs tomorrow here at the lab, so we're gonna do the Nostra Devs with Captain Stacks and Super Testnet. We're gonna do like a Super Mario Brothers tonight. Yeah, D++ is coming over. We're gonna do that here in the lab. So we'll have some. I think Nick's gonna make barbecue. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend.
It'll rock. Dee's game, has she made it public yet? Like, has she released it?
I don't know.
For other people to use?
There's videos online though, but I don't know. I'm sure she is at some point or has. I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay. If she does, she should post it on Stacker News so the Stackers can play it.
Yeah, because it's really, from what I could tell, it's really fun, and she has a really good solution to delivering it. I know other people had more hacky ones, but she did something like a deeper integration.
Works really. When we did it for the hackathon, it works really, 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 really well.
Super reliable. Yeah.
Super reliable. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, dude. Like, also, yeah, I should also mention, if you go to plublab.com/blog, there's the hackathon projects there. So you can see all the videos and stuff. You can see what people are doing here in Austin. All right, cool, Keyan. That's all I got.
Zap.